This is Mac OS Ken.
Targets go up after Apple earnings. Apple reportedly holds an AI all hands, and the dumbest name imaginable for a theater chain. It is Monday, the 4th of August, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. Last Thursday's Apple earnings report and call led at least a few analysts to raise their price targets on the company's shares. Apple 3.0 posted parts of several notes. Running through a few of the target movers, JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee was excited by growth for iPhone and Mac last quarter. He acknowledges the part subsidies played in China, as well as tariff-related panic buying here in the States. Still, Apple's robust outlook for the September quarter for mid to high single-digit growth versus the low to mid single-digit growth for the last 3 quarters was able to put some of those concerns to bed as far as he's concerned. Mr. Chatterjee has an overweight rating on Apple shares. He raised his price target on the shares from $250 to $255. Morgan Stanley analyst Eric Woodring was turned on by services growth last quarter of 13%, as well as Apple's expectation that it will do that again this quarter. He's mindful of the upcoming Google ruling, though apparently not worried exactly. Mr. Woodring has an overweight rating on Apple shares. He upped his price target on the shares from $230 to $240. Raymond James analyst Srini Pajuri also picked up on the part tariff-related panic buying played in the States. That said, he was turned on by strength in other regions, by strength in services, and by Apple's increased spending on AI. Mr. Pajuri has an outperform rating on Apple shares. He raised his price target on the shares from $230 to $240 as well. B of A analyst Wamsi Mohan sees Apple setting up for a strong 2026. That's thanks to a few factors, including an anticipated new form factor for the iPhone this year, presumably the super thin iPhone, and again next year, presumably the foldable. Additionally, there are the company's investments in AI and continued strength in services. All of that, plus stable cash flow, earnings resiliency, and Apple's strong capital return program, led him to reiterate his buy rating on Apple shares. Mr. Mohan also raised his price target on the shares from $235 to $240. Though scraps of note were missing from their moves, Apple 3.0 had word of 2 other target increases. UBS analyst David Vogt maintained a buy rating on Apple shares, raising his price target from $210 to $220. And finally, Citi analyst Atif Malik kept his buy rating and raised his target from $240 to $245. After a call like Thursday's, you might think it would be Miller time for Apple execs. Instead, a few of them got together with employees at Apple Park for a rare all-hands meeting. At least that's what Bloomberg hears. Though the company did not comment for Bloomberg, secret people said to know stuff about stuff had Apple CEO Tim Cook talking about, "Wanna guess? You never will. Okay, I'll tell ya. Artificial intelligence." According to Cook, according to Bloomberg, according to the secret people, the AI revolution is as big or bigger as the internet, smartphones, cloud computing, and apps. The telephone game quotes the CEO as saying, "Apple must do this. Apple will do this. This is sort of ours to grab. We will make the investment to do it." "We've rarely been first," he continued. There was a PC before the Mac, there was a smartphone before the iPhone, there were many tablets before the iPad, there was an MP3 player before iPod. Having modernized those things and having made them mainstream, Cook said this is how he feels about AI. Not that it was all about AI. Apple's senior VP of software engineering, Craig Federighi, was also on hand. He talked about the more personalized Siri that's on the way. That's said to be going great. According to Federighi, the work they've done has put Apple in a position to not just deliver what they announced, but to deliver a much bigger upgrade than they envisioned. There is no project people are taking more seriously, according to Air Force One. Back to Cook, who also talked about plans to bring Apple retail to more emerging markets, how excited he is about the product pipeline, and did he mention AI? It's not just about getting products out, but also about Apple employees employing AI themselves, so I guess the message had something to do with AI. News of some third-party offerings leaving some iPhones. We'll start with Verizon, which is dropping Apple Arcade and Google Play Pass from some legacy 5G plans. Remember around 2020 when 5G was a step up, not just cell service? A piece from Mac Rumors says Verizon used to bundle its 5G plans with free access to Apple Music, Apple Arcade, Disney++, Hulu, and more. And customers on these prior generation plans have continued to be able to use the included perks. Verizon stopped offering those to new subscribers in 2023, though people who already had the add-ons could apparently hang on to them. But the times, they are a-changin'. Big Red has emailed affected subscribers letting them know that a discount on their current account will be removed on or after the 1st of September. If you're a Truecaller user using that to record calls on your iPhone, you'll not be doing that much longer. A piece from TechCrunch says the Swedish company is discontinuing its call recording function on iOS just over 2 years after the feature was launched. The call recording goes dead on the 30th of September. Apple Watch Series 1, the second of Apple's timepieces, has hit the company's list of obsolete products. Generally speaking, a product hits that list once it's been off the market for 7 years or more. In Apple product parlance, obsolete means that the product in question can no longer be serviced by the Cupertino company, nor its authorized service providers. Congratulations to Brad Pitt, or Apple Originals, or both, I guess. According to a piece from Variety, Apple's race car movie, F1, The Movie, is now Mr. Pitt's highest grossing movie so far. With global ticket sales of 545 million, F1 edges past 2013's World War Z and its $540 million in ticket sales, not adjusted for inflation. And finally today, sometimes you come across a story that makes you wonder who could have possibly been thinking what. Mac Rumors says Apple, the electronics maker, is suing Apple Cinemas over alleged trademark infringement. Quoting the report, established in 2013, Apple Cinemas maintained a limited presence in the northeastern U.S. until last month when it opened a theater in San Francisco. The complaint alleges that Apple Cinemas is pursuing a nationwide expansion across the U.S., including in areas near Apple's headquarters and retail stores, leading Apple to take action. It's not quite right to say that they opened a theater in San Francisco. They reopened it, and good for them. It was the theater closest to where I lived when I lived in San Francisco proper. It's tall. You had to go up like 3 or 4 escalators depending which screen your film was on, if memory serves. Anyway, I used to love that place, and I loved the fact that they are running cinemas, but seriously, you couldn't think of another name. And the logo, well, it doesn't look exactly like Apple's, but seriously, you couldn't think of another shape? I don't know whether Apple should be as ferocious as it is about such things, but I do know that it is that ferocious. And I don't know how Apple Cinemas couldn't have known that. Apple says it tried to resolve the matter amicably to no avail. Apple's complaint argues that Apple Cinemas is knowingly and intentionally using the name Apple to sow confusion for its own benefit. MacRumor says the complaint even features examples of some people who believe that Apple Cinemas was owned by Apple. Though they've only got 14 theaters today, the suit says, faced with the defendant's plan to expand to 100 theaters nationwide, as well as widespread public confusion about Apple's involvement in the theaters, Apple has no alternative but to file this lawsuit to protect its brand and customers from deception. Apple is seeking an injunction, which makes sense, and monetary damages, which does not. But seriously, who could have possibly been thinking what? macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSKen at mastodon.social. You could also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.